We've made it to the weekend, and we're really happy about that. This is Wayne Goldsboro Television. I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kate Daniels.
Pardon me while I button my jacket here. I want to look proper, you know.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, let's be proper here.
That's right.
Thank you for being with us. Glad you're here. Got a great show lined up for you today, and this is getting closer to our holidays.
That's right.
I want to remind you that Hanukkah begins this weekend, and happy Hanukkah to our friends of Jewish faith, and thank you for being there. Now, we've got a parade to go to.
We do have a parade to go to.
Excited about that.
And I have convinced this guy that he needs to be in the parade.
She did.
And have some company. So there's going to be 4 of us in the parade.
That's right. It'll be the 2 of us, and then Pat's going to be with us, and Bria's going to be with us.
Yeah.
And we'll all be in that little tiny car. We'll, you know, you remember
like
the
square looking.
You know, remember the clown car at the circus. You know, well, it won't be that, but it'll be almost like that.
It's shaped like a toaster.
Well, I have one of the guards downstairs nicknamed it the milk truck. You know, it's a.
But I mean, it's a great car, and it's got on the. If you've not seen it, you just obviously haven't been within the vicinity.
Yeah,
but it's real. I mean, it's got the logo beautiful on it.
It's a county car. It's got the it's got the county logo on it, but it says Wayne Goldsboro Television. Ta-da!
It's very pretty.
Yes,
pretty
it
colors.
Lots of color, yeah.
We will be there along with about 130 other entries on Saturday, and as we mentioned earlier this week at 10 o'clock, Fremont Parade will be going on at 12 o'clock noon in Mount Olive, and then at 4 o'clock in downtown Goldsboro. So we are very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, now, if you are planning on, if you are in the parade, you need to be there to line up an hour early. So at 10 o'clock in Fremont, you need to be there at 9 to line up. At Mount Olive, at 1, you need to be there at noon to line up. And with us, at 4 o'clock, you need to be there at 3 in place.
In place, and everything's going to go smooth. Wayne has assured all of us that we're going to have perfect weather. Last year it was not ideal at all weather, so this year's looking really, really good. And we want to see you out there and come and wave back to everybody. And
now it'll be sunny, but you'll need to wear a jacket because the temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 50s. It's seasonal. It's that time of year.
I love it.
I know.
I love it. So a lot going on.
A lot going on is right. Coming up Tuesday, we got a blood drive at the Red Cross office, which is at 600 North George Street here in Goldsboro. Your gift of blood will help 3 people, perhaps even save their life. Now, what better way to celebrate this special time of year is to give the gift of life, to actually help keep someone alive by giving a unit of blood. And that's true. You can do it. It's so easy. Just a little prick on the inside of the elbow there is all there is to it. That's it. And it doesn't hurt. You can't get sick. And that's it. That's now, I will say this. I've seen some folks who, for the first time giving blood, they got a little weak. And that's why they do not let you leave until you've had a little cracker or something to eat and something to drink. And it's always fun sitting around the table.
Oh, it's awesome.
As people are leaving. It is fun.
It's fun because you get to visit, and that's the great thing about donating blood. If for some reason you cannot donate blood, they're still looking for volunteers. They're still looking for financial resources or other resources. But if you can't give blood, but you're like, I want to help support this great organization, volunteer in the canteen. It is so much fun. You get to meet some of the most incredible people.
Yeah.
And you sit in there, and I think it's a 10-minute wait after you give blood,
like
and you get a donut or a cookie or some juice or soda.
Yes.
And it's fantastic.
It's fun. You sit there and
fantastic.
Yeah.
And it is just such a wonderful thing that you can do, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time at all.
And you made a very good point about volunteering for the Red Cross. You know, they're always needing volunteers. Someone to help walk people down the hall or help them with directions or in fact, during any time of the year, they need help in the office, answering the phones, filing things. Volunteer for the Red Cross. It's just fantastic.
That's right. And then whether it's inside the office or boots on the ground kind of a thing with disaster relief, you know, these are volunteers that are going out there, and they've got, you know, they'll get a phone call in the middle of the night when there's a house fire, and that's when most house fires happen is in the middle of the night. And it doesn't matter what time of day it is. what the weather's like outside. The Red Cross is going to be there, always has been, and
That's right.
they do need support, though,
They
certainly.
do, but I want you to, and another good point you made, but I want you to understand that once you volunteer for the Red Cross, you're not immediately sent out to cover house fires or to help people with
No.
tornado disaster.
No.
Those are trained volunteers. They're very
absolutely.
specially trained, and you can do that too. You can get training for that.
You can help also work in the IRV. I'll never forget the
The
first
IRV?
time I'm like,
Yeah.
who's Earl? And they said IRV, Emergency Response Vehicle.
Yeah, the ERV, Emergency Response Vehicle, is the IRV. You could
Yeah,
do that, yeah.
yeah.
But it's fascinating and extremely rewarding work to volunteer for the Red Cross. If you have 1 hour a week, a half hour a week,
That's right.
or if you want to put in 10 hours a day, you can do that. Whatever you can do, help the Red Cross. They're always there,
That's right.
helping people and saving lives. That's what they do. And you know, and one more thing. I don't mean to go on about this.
I
One more
love
thing.
it when this happens.
But
Talk to me.
Yeah,
What?
hey, yeah,
What you
here
got?
we're talking here. But I have seen with a previous job I had, I had to be at different places at certainly all 24 hours of the day. Sometimes 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I have seen the results of a family being burned out of their home, and Red Cross is always there. They're there with blankets. They're there with food vouchers. They're there to help people get their lives back together.
That's right.
The minute there's a problem, if there's a fire, and that house burns, and that family gets out of the house, the Red Cross is there helping them. Because just imagine, if you lose absolutely everything, you don't even have shoes, you don't have a shirt to wear, everything is gone. The Red Cross is there to help. They've got clothes, they've got food, they've got everything you need. So help them out.
That's
okay?
right. That's right.
What do you want to do now?
Cry.
I know.
It is very, it's very
I know.
special.
Okay.
Very special.
We better go to our next segment of the program
Before I act the fool.
before we cry. Our guests in the studio today are from the Department of Social Services here in Wayne County. We welcome back Amanda Pliler. Hi there.
Good morning, Mr. Wayne.
Good to see you again. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And first time with us today is Ms. Angela Brittingham. Is
Brittingham.
that right?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank
Now, we first of all, when you came by last time, Amanda, we talked about, in general, about adoptions and the need for adoptions and the backlog you have so far. Now, what do you do for DSS?
I'm the supervisor for the adoptions unit.
Okay, and what do you do, Angela?
I'm the licensing foster care social worker, so I assist in getting the licensure for homes for foster children.
To make sure that everything is the way it should be.
Yes,
When they
yes, sir.
take a foster child into the home. How do you define, if you would please, because I'm sure there's some confusion about this, how do you define a foster child?
Somebody who is in the custody of the Department of Social Services.
Okay, now how does a child become a custody person of the Department of Social Services? What happens?
Well, they're brought into custody usually if there's been reports of abuse, neglect, or things like that. Report is filed, an investigation is ensued, and it's determined then whether or not the child should come into custody or not.
So that it's a determination of whether or not the child is actually in danger
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
of being
Yes.
harmed in some way.
definitely.
And then you have the families who, we don't always immediately take a child into custody at the end of an investigation or assessment. Several families will be referred to what's called in-home services, where the social worker will come out and work with the children and the family in the home to try and remedy different situations. And if you go for a long period of time where you don't see improvement or the situation gets worse, at that time, then the agency may make the determination to file a petition to take custody.
Okay, now you probably just said this, but I want to ask you another question
Okay.
another way.
Okay.
This does not necessarily mean that indeed the child is in danger. It just means that there's an investigation. Is that
Investigation.
correct?
Well,
Chances are.
we don't take a child into custody if there's not evidence
Oh,
that
I
the
see.
child is in danger
All right.
in some way, shape,
So
or form.
once a child gets to you, then that means that there has been a problem of some kind
Yes.
that it's felt.
That means
that-
the report that came in was substantiated. That means they did find
Oh,
that there
okay.
was some kind of abuse, neglect, or dependency.
All right, just to make that point clear. Now, who
Yes,
makes
sir.
that decision? Is that a court decision?
Well, the court does have to sign off on and award custody. We may petition the court for custody, but we don't make the decision by ourselves. We
Right.
present all the evidence, and a judge makes that decision.
Okay, that decision is made by a judge
Yes.
in a legal arena
Yes.
process. Okay, so how are we doing, Angela, as far as families being able to take in foster children? Do we have a good amount of people who are willing to do that?
Well, we have some. We could always use more.
Oh, sure.
That's where we come in. As a matter of fact, we have calls every day regarding our foster care and adoptive process. We usually screen the calls. I gather information from them to make sure that they are really interested in becoming a foster parent or adoptive parent.
So you're saying that you actually get calls from people who say, I want to help these children out?
We get calls pretty much every day.
Is
They
that,
come in.
well, that's wonderful.
Yes.
And
We
so-
need them to follow through.
Follow through.
You need them to follow through. So
That's
once
the
they
most
call, then sometimes they don't follow through?
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Oh, that's not good.
Exactly. And we do, I try to track and log on all of our interested prospective foster parents, try to maintain contact with them, tell them about the process. Once I've asked them a few questions to determine whether or not they're really interested in becoming a foster parent, at that point I gather a package of information and an application and send it to them. Usually if we get the information back, especially in a timely manner, that's a clear indicator to me that they're really interested. I have some
yeah.
that have called for applications. They're still holding on to it months later. So, it's just a process, and we just follow up like that.
The importance of this, this is so important because you don't want to put a child in a home where somebody's not really sure
That's
that
right.
this is what they want to do.
Yes, so we
Exactly.
do want them to take time and make sure that this is the right decision for them. And that's part of what doing the foster parent training, the MAP class,
Right.
is intended for. It's a mutual selection process by both the foster parent, prospective parents, and the agency.
So, and we have classes coming up soon.
We do.
Yes.
And before we get to that, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, but I want to ask you what makes a good foster home? What do you look for?
Someone who, first of all, has a clear indicator of how to treat children, okay? Someone that has a genuine compassion and love for children. I look for safety factors, because with the understanding that we have children that are coming into custody that may have some severe behaviors. How are you able to handle that? What kind of background do you have as it relates to dealing with children? Some people may have raised children themselves, and we have some that have never had any children at all.
Is that right? You have some who have had no children
Yes, sir.
who would actually qualify
Oh,
Yes.
as a foster
absolutely.
home.
Yes.
You don't have to have been a birth parent to be a
Right.
foster parent.
Wow. Now that's great because that opens a lot of doors, doesn't
Yes, it
it?
does.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Well,
it
that's
does.
wonderful. So, also, I want to make the point that a foster home is not a permanent home for a particular child, although it could
Correct. Correct.
be. It could be.
Our goal as an agency and as a state is always reunification with a child unless there's some, dramatic or extreme circumstance. We always want to
What do
try.
you mean by reunification? What does that mean?
Means we want the child to go back home to their parents.
To their
We
parents.
want
That's
that
the first
child.
thing.
That's
That's the goal.
always the goal for a child when they come into care is for them to be able to go back home to their parents.
And that's a very important point too, because a lot of times people think, well, once a child gets into the system, then you'll never
That's
see them
right.
again.
No.
That's not the case.
No,
No.
sir.
And as a matter of fact, with that being said and that being the goal, we really encourage the families, the parents, to really stay involved, not only with the children, but with the foster families that the children go into the home with. Because after all, you have to work together, okay? Because if it's a situation where the child is going back home, you're taking them from, one situation to another. You want to make sure that there's still consistency, and even when they go back home to the parents, that the parents are able or in a better position to say, okay, I can do this for my child.
Do you ever see the parents say, hey, I've had a rude awakening here. I didn't know what I was doing, and all of a sudden I realized how much I need this child back in my life, and I'll do better?
Yeah, There are
take the
many
child. That
parents
happens.
who get involved with social services, and once they start working things, they make fantastic turnarounds, and they are able to change things for themselves and the kids, and the children do go home, and everybody's much better off.
Right.
So you have a child who's been placed in a foster home, and the age goes from what? Birth to a
18.
teenager, to 18.
21.
To 21,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
So is it about equal, easier, or more difficult to find a home for the older child?
It is. It is near impossible at times to find placement for a teenager.
Right. Yes.
Because
The age.
People generally have the idea that teenagers are much more difficult, that they're already kind of set in their behaviors, and a lot of times that's true, but they're still just a child,
That's
and
right.
they still need to be shown that love and affection and structure and consistency that a younger child needs.
child needs structure,
Yes,
That's
sir.
right.
a home where they can be shown how to do the right thing,
That's right.
rather than be so Now, I was a child once, believe it or not, and you might say that I was a bit on the rebellious side. You know what I mean?
I think we all have been there.
Yes, of course we have. Everybody has. But you deal with it,
You do.
right?
Yes,
you
sir.
just deal with it, and you look for this
Right.
in a foster home, that they're able to deal with things like that.
Well, I think that's the one thing that we do look for, because I know it's most important to me, is how effectively you're able to deal with it. Because that's the thing with a lot of parents, especially if you have new parents who this is the first time they've had a child, they don't know what to do. So I could see, that happening, them kind of getting lost, the child kind of
Yes.
getting lost in that, because they don't know how to cope with having a new child. They don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do.
Especially if they haven't learned that themselves. So
Do you
that's
offer?
important.
Do you help with that? I know. Partnership for Children has some great programs helping new parents and how to work with a child, and how to teach a child, how to grow a child. So does the Department of Social Services get into that at all?
Well, and that's part of the MAP training that we do, that we touch on different ways to react with children and understand their behaviors and understand what they're going through.
Okay.
We also do ongoing trainings of all different topics throughout the year for our licensed foster parents. And then you have the child social worker who's in the home at least once a month, if not more, sometimes every week. And then you have Miss Angela, who, if you're a licensed foster parent, she's going to be making visits and going out there and be there as a support. So there's always somebody that can help and kind of walk the parents through things.
Allow me to be devil's advocate here just a moment, if you don't mind, and I ask this
Okay.
in a way that people may be thinking this way, and it's the
Right.
wrong way to think. You see all kinds of garbage on television where a social worker fails to go into a home over several months, and the child is somewhere out in the wild, and the parent, the foster parent, is not being a foster parent type
Right.
person. Does that ever happen? I know that you have training. You have training. Our Department of Social Services here in Wayne County trains or has qualified and trained personnel.
Right.
Does that ever happen though? Does somebody ever lose track of a child?
We have not, that I know of, ever had an issue like that. And as I said, with our licensed foster homes, we have someone in there on a regular basis, and we
Right.
maintain contact with them.
And they're held to a
all
high
the time.
standard. I
Yes,
know
sir.
they
Yes.
are.
Yes.
Held to a very high standard.
Yes.
Because the important thing here is the child.
Yes, sir.
All right. How many children are in a position now to be placed into a foster home right this minute? Do you have any
Children in
numbers?
Wayne County custody.
In Wayne
As
County.
of right now, we are sitting right around, it has gone up since we spoke last, and we are now sitting right around 100 children in county custody.
100 children need to go into a foster home right now.
Well, are in a foster
Or
home.
are in a
Are in
foster
a
home.
foster
Are in a foster home right now. And these children are up for adoption, I take
No,
it.
not
No,
all of
not
them.
all.
Oh, not all of them.
No, sir.
Okay, who would not? Okay, a child that may end up going back to its home
Yes,
would not be up for adoption.
right. A child is not up for adoption unless either the parents have abandoned kind of working with the child and with the agency, and maybe have relinquished their parental rights, or if the parents may have become deceased before or after the
yeah.
child's in custody,
Yeah.
or if you find that again, the parents may not be working the plan or not be committed to the child, and the courts have terminated parental rights, only then will a child's case plan become adoption, and we look for an adoptive home.
Okay. Do we have numbers of children up for adoption now?
Our adoptive caseload is still about the same, around 10 to 15 children whose case plan is adoption. And again, some of those are already in an adoptive placement.
Right.
And just like with placing an actual foster child just into a home, finding an adoptive home for a teenager is one of our biggest areas of concern.
It's a
Wow.
challenge.
I'm sure it's a
Definitely a
challenge.
challenge.
I'm sure it's a challenge. Does the foster parent ever adopt a child?
Many times.
Yes.
A lot of times. They
Yes.
just grab on and hold on and
Because they've already made that bond and they've established a good relationship, and you know, if there's not a family member who's appropriate and willing to be able to step in and take that, you know, position in a child's life, then many times a foster parent does do that.
But we want to make the point that just because they're a foster parent doesn't mean they have to adopt
That's
a child.
correct.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
All right. So do you ever have foster parents take a child in, that child goes to adoption, they take another child in, or can they take more than one?
We've had that happen. I think we
Several
have
times.
several of our families that have done that, and they will tell you, you know, we're looking to adopt again. You know, but those are people also who really have a heart and a passion for children, and
Yeah.
they really, really love
Oh, yeah.
doing that.
And this is, the situation in our nation right now is such that children almost, it seems, just don't have a chance sometimes. They
that
just
is
don't have a
true.
chance because things are not good. They're so easily influenced in so many different
Right.
ways.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And by becoming a foster parent doesn't, or asking, just simply by asking, now what if I were to become a foster parent? That doesn't commit them to anything, does it?
That's right.
Just
That's
by
right.
asking. And what about if they go to this MAP thing? Are they committed to?
They still, that you can go to MAP and, you know, there's still the decision process, and that doesn't firm anything up.
Right.
There's,
Chances are you would encourage them to become.
we would love for them to do
Sure you
so
would.
afterwards.
Sure you
But
would.
there are going to be people who may go through that process, and in that learning process and in that discovery process find that maybe this really isn't
Not
what
for
they
them.
need to do, or maybe it's not the right time.
But the point is, they wouldn't be committed
That's
to
right.
do that, even though they're taking this.
That's right.
They may just say, okay.
We would love for them to,
Yeah,
absolutely.
oh, sure.
Right.
Sure
right.
you would.
That's our preference.
Well, tell me about MAP. What is MAP? M-A-P.
MAPP,
M-A-P-P, excuse me.
Model
Please,
approach.
please. Model
Partnership
approach.
for
Partnership
parenting.
for parenting.
I knew that.
And actually,
No, I didn't.
And actually, it's a new curriculum over the last year or so, and it's actually a TIPS map, which is trauma-informed parenting. Because children who come into custody of social services have been through several traumas, and the actual act of coming into foster care and being placed in a foster home in and of itself is a trauma to the child.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure. So, M-A-P-P, and this is a class.
Yes, sir.
Is it one class, or is it a series of classes?
It's a 10-week course that we usually do once a week for 3 hours during that one setting. And it is basically a time frame where they are learning not only about how to prepare to foster a child, but they're also learning about themselves. Talks about how to respond, you know, with behaviors and things that the children are going to bring. Shared parenting is an important aspect of the MAPS class, but it is a 10-week course that they must complete in order to complete the
So
licensure process.
they need to be at all 10 classes.
Yes.
They have to be at
Oh,
all 10
yes.
classes.
Right, in order to qualify.
Yes, sir.
And you give this gives the potential foster parent a heads up about what to expect
Exactly.
and how to handle situations.
Exactly.
How to
and-
work with birth parents,
Yeah.
how it'll affect their own children.
Their own children.
You know, there's a lot of stuff covered, and it's a lot of information.
So anybody interested in becoming a foster parent would certainly need to
Yes.
and want to go to these classes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Oh, that's
It's a
that's
must. It's a definite must.
Yeah, M-A-P-P. Now, we've got classes coming up in January, but before we find out when, and get a pencil, all right, you want to write all this stuff down. They go to these classes. It's a 10-week period. They're required to go to all 10. It's about a
Yes.
3-hour class each time, and these classes are held where?
At the Veterans Building on Ash Street.
2001D East Ash Street,
Yes,
Goldsboro,
sir.
NC, USA, here on Earth.
Right.
Okay?
5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m.
Okay, well, that's not so bad.
No, it's not bad at all.
All right, 5:30 to 8:30. Is it a particular night during the week?
Tuesday nights, and our first meeting, it will be our first meeting, not actually the start of the MAT, will be January the 19th.
January 19th.
And that's what we call an information night, an information meeting, where we give the families and those who are interested all the information about what they're about to embark on, let them ask any questions, and kind of, just prep them for the process.
If anyone at all is interested in getting more information or going ahead and signing up for the classes or just want to talk to you about this, how do they do that? What do they do?
They can call me at the office directly, 919-731-1351.
Are you sure that's your phone number?
That's my phone number.
Because we had a problem the last time here, you know? You know what I'm saying?
She did prepare me for that part.
Oh, okay, good. All right, now let us have that number one more time.
It's 919-731-1351.
All right, what is your phone number?
My number would be the main number for the
Yes.
agency, 919-580-4034.
4034, 4034.
Yes, sir.
731-4034 is your number. All right, now they need to call, do they need to call you specifically to sign up for this or to get more information about it? The map?
They can call me because I will be the one to gather a little bit of information about them and
Okay.
forward them the information packet if they determine that they're interested.
Now, could they also go to the county website and get information off your social services page?
I do
Is
believe
that information
there
on
is up
there?
And yes, sir.
Okay, that's waynegov.com. Go to the column across the top of the page, the menu across the top of the page, and then scroll down and look under social services and go to that page and get all kinds of information, including your phone number, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Do we need to add any more? We're looking for people to help children,
Yes.
right? That's what we
People who are
need.
committed
People who are committed to
to
helping
helping
children.
children.
And
you know,
families.
And families.
Well, now what's in this for the family? I mean, they're taking these kids into their home, and these kids are going to be spilling milk and bringing dirt and dogs into the house, and
Well,
is that a
it's been,
good thing?
My experience since I started with the agency, we actually have had some families who have gotten into this because they can't have children of their own. So for them, this is something that they've always wanted to do. Most of the time I hear from those individuals, we have a lot of love and a lot that we can offer a child, regardless if it's one that we've given birth to ourselves or not. We still want to be able to help somebody else.
One of the most delightful sounds in the world is a child in the home who's happy.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
Laughing, singing, playing. There's nothing better than that.
That's
That's
right.
right.
So let's get this, all right? And you can help. Call and get information about this,
Yes.
and Angela will send you a packet, all right?
Yes.
You don't have to commit to anything, but I hope they do.
I hope they do too.
I hope they do, and thank you very much for being
Thank
with us, Amanda
you.
Pliler
Thank
and
you.
Angela Brittingham.
Pleasure.
Yes, I love that name.
Thank you.
Brittingham. It's good. Thank you so much.
Kind of like it too.
Oh, yeah, I bet you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're back on Wayne Goldsboro Television. Thank you for being there. It is Friday indeed, and I'll remind you that as you travel about the area doing your Christmas shopping, if you haven't finished or completed it yet, please keep an extra eye open. If you've got a third eye, and some people do,
Yes.
you got the hair standing up on the back of your neck. If something just doesn't feel right, it doesn't cost you anything but a few minutes to move your car to another parking space, or to maybe leave where you are and go to another store and then come back later. If you're not shopping in the daytime, let's say you're shopping after dark, then please be extremely careful. Always be aware of what's going on around you. Not to startle you or scare you, but these times in which we live now could be considered unusual. So, and there are people out there who need to be watched. So enjoy the time of year.
Sure.
Just be careful. You can't be too careful, all right? And if you have gifts and things like that in your vehicle, cover them up before you leave your vehicle. Make sure your vehicle's locked, and for crying out loud, don't leave the keys in the car. I think people are finally learning, don't leave the keys in the car, because they come back and the car is not there. Think about that. Duh.
Somebody told me recently that a couple of years ago their car had gotten stolen out of their driveway. And I mean, I'm shocked and horror. I'm like, what? And they said, well, I mean, the keys were in it. And I'm like, well, that's your own fault. I mean,
That's right.
still, it shouldn't have been stolen, but you know.
Why didn't you just give it to the guy? You know, say, here, I got a car. You want it?
But it is, we're unfortunately, everybody's walking around like this with their phones in front of their faces, and we're not being as mindful to our surroundings as we should. So that's a great public service announcement. And and you know, when you're out and about shopping, please shop local, and do not do everything that you do online. And please don't go out of town. There are so many wonderful businesses here in Wayne County.
Oh yeah.
And I can promise you, they won't all be here if we don't support them all. It's kind of it is what it is. There have been wonderful businesses in this community that were wonderful, and everybody was like, "Oh, such and such store has everything," and a few years later, they weren't here anymore, and it's because they didn't have the business because so much was being done online.
That's
so
exactly right.
we just had what was it, Cyber Monday?
Yeah.
No,
First
no,
part
no,
of the week,
no,
yeah.
no,
Cyber
no.
Monday.
So call the chamber if you need some ideas of where to find some things. Download my chamber app. It is a free app. You've got 600 local businesses at your fingertips with access to their website, to their location, to their phone number. Please just make an effort this year. Join us in this task and an effort to make Wayne County the destination for shopping.
Do you remember the Beverly Hillbillies?
I do.
The TV show. Okay, the
Yeah.
TV show. Max Baer Jr. played the Jethro Bodine character.
yeah.
He never liked that character. He didn't want to do it to start with, but he did it and became famous for it. Now, he never liked it, but he did it and got rich from it. He went on to become a big-time producer, but he never liked that part. Now, today is his birthday.
Oh,
Let's
how
see.
old is he?
Well, let's see. Now, if you do the math, let's see now. 63, 73, he's 78 years old today.
Wow.
Can you believe that? Max Baer, and his father, Buddy Baer, was...
I'm sorry, what?
Buddy. His name was Max Sr., but Buddy Baer was a big-time boxer. He was a boxer, and a very good one, too. But Max Jr. Is an actor, director, still doing a little work as a producer, director, but he never liked that part as Jethro Bodine. And then they made him do Jethrine, his cousin, dressing up in a dress and all that stuff. He didn't like that either. Freddie Boom Boom Cannon, one of my favorite singers, Palisades Park and all that. Okay, never mind. Anyway, back in the 60s, Freddie Boom Boom Cannon having a birthday today. He is 76 today. Also a birthday for Jeff Bridges, who was Lloyd Bridges' son. Jeff Bridges, Bo Bridges, those two brothers there. Jeff, you'd know him if you saw him. He has done so many movies, really talented actor. He is 66 today. 66 he is. Birthday for Patricia Wettig, and I don't remember her, but she's done stuff. Birthday today for Marissa Tomei. She's 64. You'd know if you saw her. She's done a lot of things. She's not 64. She was born in 64. 36, 46, 40, 51. 51 she is. Tyra Banks?
Yeah.
All right. Now you know her. All right. 42.
What?
Yeah, she's 42 and looking good. Woo! Also a birthday for Lindsay Felton, and she is just a kid. Anyway, there you go. Those are the birthdays for today. Happy everything. It's a Wonderful Life is a fantastic movie. Jimmy Stewart, Jimmy Stewart, yeah, and Donna Reed, and a cast of millions, well, maybe tens. Anyway, it's a very it's a famous movie because they play it every year, multiple times during the year, and it was not that well received when it first came out back in 19 something. Anyway, it's a Wonderful Life. It's going to be shown at the Paramount Theater on December 22nd, as Jimmy Stewart portraying George Bailey. And anyway, you have to see the movie. It's a fantastic Christmas movie.
It is a classic, and I had seen it, I don't know how many times. I mean, I watch it
have
every
seen
year. Last year, I went to the Paramount with 10 girlfriends, and we sat in the balcony. And I think if they weren't sold out, they were almost sold out.
Yeah.
It was the best experience to watch it on the big screen in this beautiful theater with an audience.
Oh, wow.
There's something different.
Yeah.
When you're at home, there's just something different.
Yeah.
If you've got an opportunity to go December 22nd.
December 22nd starts at...
Please go. you've seen it, you love it, or you
Yeah.
hadn't seen it, you don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
It is. There's something very special about seeing it at the Paramount Theater.
Oh yeah,
And I may or may not have cried several times.
you probably did. The cast is absolutely amazing.
Whew.
Henry
Great story.
Travers plays Clarence, and he does such an amazing job. And I'm not going to tell you whether or not the angel actually gets his wings or not, because that would be a spoiler.
Spoiler.
A spoiler. Okay, but Henry Travers is great, and Ward Bond is in it. Just a ton of people, and it's not true. Somebody has spread the word that Bert and Ernie, the characters Bert and Ernie, came from this movie. That's not true. It didn't actually happen that way. It's just that's coincidental. I know it's far-fetched, but it's not true. So there. Enough of that.
Everything you read on the internet is not true.
What? What? I love the commercial. You remember the commercial with the girl who's standing on the street, who's got a new date, and he's French, and this great big tall guy that's not really French, and you know he's not, walking down the street as him, and he said, "Bonjour, mademoiselle." It was so funny. Anyway, but she thought everything you saw
Was
on
it
the
a
internet.
dating commercial?
No,
I
it was
think I
just
remember.
something for one of the insurance companies.
Okay, yeah.
One of the insurance companies. She
my
said, "Oh, but
gosh.
everything you say on the
Internet's true.
internet's true. I met a blind date Frenchman. Bonjour, lady. Anyway, whatever. What else? Oh, a whole bunch of stuff. We got to go.
We do have to go, but we'll see you tomorrow at the Christmas parade.
Yes, we'll be there, and I hope you're right where you are Monday morning when we're right here where we are Monday morning, and that will be at 7 a.m. And for Wayne Goldsboro Television, until then, I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kate Daniels.
And this is Wayne Goldsboro Television.